So I know we're on Facebook Live. Hi, everybody. I'm Anita Vassallo. I'm the Director of Montgomery County Public Libraries, and Councilmember Jawando is getting himself situated in the lovely Davis Library so that he'll be able to give everyone a tour. And we'll be talking about libraries. For anyone who has any particular questions, there he is. And he's looking very snazzy in his mask. And you can see behind him the Davis Library. So go ahead, Mr. Jawando.
Thank you, Director Vassallo, and good to see everybody. You see the lovely bright white lights and books of the Davis Library. There's work going on around me. You may hear a phone ring, so you know I'm really here. And this is just, I wanted to give you a little flavor of the library. And we restarted our virtual tours, which were in person, and we did those before the pandemic, and just restarted them and have been coming out to the libraries to see what's going on here, because work, as Anita will tell you, Director Vassallo will tell you, work has continued, and folks are working really hard to deliver great content and holds to go and a whole range of things. So one of this is our second restart of the tour. And the reason I'm here is I wanted to give you guys an actual visual of the library. So I'm going to go to my cell phone for a second and then just walk you around and show you the library. And then we'll let attendees in and then we'll just have a little dialogue. While this is a library tour, it's also open to any issue. So, you know, as an at-large council member, I sit on the Education Committee. I sit on the Planning, Housing, Economic Development Committee, and I handle a whole range of issues. So anything you want to talk about, we can talk about, and that's part of it as well. So really happy to be at the Davis Library. And so, Anita, do you want to say anything before, maybe as I'm walking, you can help narrate? I know you know this library.
Well, sure. As a matter of fact, I was the manager at the Davis Library when it went through its refresh, which is why it holds a special place in my heart. And right now, Mr. Jawando is sitting in the main reading area of the library. He's going to switch over to his phone and take a tour around. And when this library was refreshed, there were some collaboration spaces put in. Some materials were moved around to make them more accessible. And you can see, let's see, he is moving now into what is generally a quiet study room with a laptop lane. Right now, we're using it as an area where we can quarantine our returned materials for a number of hours. Just an extra precaution that we're taking in this COVID time.
That's an important. I wanted them to see that because we know we're being COVID safe here. You may meet a couple of staff. We've all got our masks on in the building. You know.
Yep, our staff is definitely working on that. Now, to Mr. Jawando's left, there you see our collaboration rooms, which during non-COVID times can be reserved for use for small study groups or someone who's just looking for a quiet space. He's wandering around there in the teen section, which we're very pleased with. We didn't have a good teen section there before the refresh, but now we have that area.
Come say hi, guys. We're doing an actual tour. So introduce yourself.
There's
I'm Steve Warwick. I'm the manager here at Davis. Hope all is well and safe for most of you, everyone. So we're great here. So
good to see you.
So they're doing good work there. Davis is a very high use library in the holds to go operation. And
I know you see more.
Yeah, there's the
going on here.
Desk.
Well, and I'm gonna take the mic for a second here from you, Anita. So hello. Do you mind being on the virtual library tour for a second?
Oh, okay.
So what's your name?
My name is Christina Huang. I'm LA2 here.
Okay, and so what are you doing right now? What's going on? Holds to go. Okay.
So what happened is the people make a appointment. Okay. So we print hourly, and then we follow their names and signing their votes, and then put it on the card, and then put it on the table, and then we're
then
ready
they
for
pick
them
it up.
to go.
This is a perfect example, is Christina,
Christian, yes.
of the holds to go. They're working hard for you. Their packaging is almost like takeout, right? It's almost like takeout, Anita, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Library takeout.
Oh, well, I don't want to get in the way. I'm getting in the way of important drop-offs here. But so, you know, one of the many services that's been going on for how long now, Anita, the holds to go?
Since July 6th. So gosh, what is that now? 8 months? Yeah.
Yeah, so quite a bit. This is I always, as the father of 4 children, I always have to visit the children's area of the library, and we've got a very nice children's section here, as you see. And hopefully this will be in use at some point. Maybe this is a good time, Anita, I know the question I get a lot from folks and that you get is when will this space be used again? And what are you all considering? I know the we see the numbers going in the right direction, but we want to be safe. So maybe you could address that elephant in the room here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that people are extremely interested to know when libraries are going to have the physical buildings reopened again. And what I can say right now at this moment is that we are actively working on a phased reopening plan. And there should be some more information for the community coming out in the next several weeks about what those plans will involve.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, and I can say, we had just announced at the county that we're moving to the next section of vaccination for 65 plus and frontline workers. And so certain fields, so be on the lookout for that. You'll see information coming out from on all of our websites, on the county website, montgomerycountymd.gov. Well, good. We've got audio books back there. We've got a ton of going on. It's a very, very quaint library. So I'm going to head back to my seat, and then we'll let everyone into the room, and we'll take some questions. Anita, you were the manager. Did I miss something? Do I need to go somewhere else?
I think you've hit the high points there. Okay. It's a lovely little library, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that it actually shares space with our partner organization, the Kid Museum, which is down on the lower level. They're not in operation yet at the moment, but that's a great organization. And once things are back underway, I would encourage everyone who has a child to bring them to see the Kid Museum. And I hope you've been there, Will. I'm sure you have. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've spent a lot of time there, and it's a great organization. And like you said, they're not open right now, but it's a great partnership. And we actually are looking at ways that the county can partner even more, in normal times. And even now online, Kid Museum helps expand the curiosity and create maker space for, thousands of MCPS students. And we want to expand those opportunities, particularly for students who may not have had access to them. So they're a great partner, and it's a great co-location here at Davis. But we want to get it in more parts of the county. So we're working on that as well. So wonderful. Well, again, welcome Councilmember Will Jawando's virtual library tour. If you're watching this later on Facebook, or if you're here now, you just witnessed history. We've never done a virtual walk around tour. So hopefully it went well. All right. Well, Seamus, from my staff, do you want to let the folks who are here in so we can take some questions and
Yep. Give me 1 second and I will get them moved over.
Great. And so while you're doing that, I'll just make a couple opening comments. I mentioned that we're moving to the next phase of vaccination. We continue to advocate. Just today, we sent a letter to Governor Hogan asking for 5 things as a council. 1, a mass vaccination site in the county. We are the largest jurisdiction of 1.1 million people. We are among the quickest in the state, if not every week the quickest, 1 or 2, and how quick we take our doses and get them into arms of residents. And so we have made the case and continue to make the case. We have the highest number and one of the highest numbers of deaths, and we have many impacted zip codes. We're the largest jurisdiction. We should get more vaccine, and we should have a mass vaccination site. So we continue to push for that. We're hopeful. If you saw 60 Minutes last Sunday, you had our health officer, Dr. Travis Gales, making that case to the nation. And we're hopeful that all of your work and the pressure from residents will make that happen. We've also asked for an equity plan. It's very disheartening that if you look at who's being vaccinated and who has access in this, what I call the vaccine Hunger Games environment, where you have to go around to 9, 10 different sites and try to find an appointment, that advantages some people, folks who have internet access, some folks who have time, people who can have a car and can take time out of their day to drive all around the state. And what has happened as a result of that is that you have massive disparities in who's getting vaccinated. At the same time, we know, for example, that our Black and Latino population in particular are dying younger, contracting the virus at a higher rate and dying at a higher rate. African Americans die at the highest rate of anybody. Latinos have the highest case rate, and they're also dying younger. African Americans die 10 years younger on average from COVID than white residents. And so it's imperative that we have an equity plan that allows folks to get equal access to the vaccine, and that we, just like you would triage anything, if someone comes in the hospital and someone has a life-threatening injury versus a non-life-threatening injury, you're going to treat the life-threatening injury. We should have an equity framework for the statewide vaccination process, but we don't. The governor rolled out a version of a plan today. We sent a very specific letter saying what we're doing here as far as targeting zip codes, suggesting that we use race and ethnicity to overlay against that, and consider younger ages for those populations, because we know folks are dying. So we're working very hard to keep our businesses open as well. I just put forth a special appropriation to help our retail small businesses with their rent. Many are struggling to keep the doors open. This would be a $10,000 grant to help with up to 3 months back rent. We're going to be considering that in the next couple of weeks. We continue to watch and see what happens in Washington as far as the Relief Act. And if, fingers crossed, if things go the way we think they could, we should see several $100 million in money that can help support our businesses, ramp up our vaccination processes, and hopefully turn the corner even more on the pandemic. So in the middle of that, we're dealing with many other things, but that's kind of the top of mind, just a quick COVID update. So I think hopefully we've let people in. It looks like we have. And so the way we'll do this is for the next 45 minutes or so. If anyone has a question, you can just say your name, where you're from. It can be about the library. It can be about any issue the county's facing. And if I can't answer you, I'll probably be able to answer it. But if not, we'll get back to you. We'll take your information and we'll follow up. And then Director Vassallo is always helping me out with the library questions as well. And we're here to have a little dialogue. So with that, Director Vassallo, let's go to the questions. Then you can answer in the questions. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Oh, and thank you, Lily, for my staff. Seamus and Lily Valerian are on the Valorian, excuse me. I know that. Lily Valorian are here, and they will be putting things into the chat that I mentioned or that are helpful from time to time. So, all right. Did we let folks in?
Everyone is let in. I don't, people should be able to unmute themselves.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go through and just ask to unmute so that people can do that.
Great.
Be sure.
All right. And then I should mention we have Ari Brooks here from the Friends of the Library, who do great work in repurposing and selling gently used books and promoting the use of the libraries. And there she is. Hey, Ari, how are you? Good to see you. You're on mute. But that's, you can go off mute. How are you doing?
I'm well. Thanks for asking.
Good. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Any updates you want to share? Anything you think people should know before you go? Anything we need to know?
Thanks for asking. We have our annual gala, Library After Dark Gala, coming up virtually on April 10th at 7:30 p.m. and it's free to attend. We also have our vinyl record festival that we do with MCPL. It's actually an award-winning festival coming up on April 17th at noon.
Okay.
website is folmc.org.
Great. We'll put that in the chat, or you can, or my staff can. I see, Dan, you have something written in your, maybe you go first since you look like you're ready to go. Dan Melvin.
First of all, Councilman, I would like to thank you. I'm a member of the library board. We've been following the work that you've been doing on behalf of libraries very closely, and we're very, very pleased with all the support you've given to the Montgomery County Public Library. So we're very, very pleased with that. We were also very pleased to note that recently you stood up for the collections budget of the library, which is really very, very important. You can think of it sort of as the infrastructure that keeps the library going. At some point, hopefully sooner rather than later, the buildings are going to open again. People will start coming back, and we want to make sure there are things there for them when they come back. And that's what that collections budget does. It also, as you probably know, pays for the electronic resources that are provided. One of the other things there's only one other thing I want to say, and then I'll stop because I'm going too long here. We have, the library board, and I speak only for myself now, has been tremendously impressed with the response of Anita and all the other members of the staff of the Montgomery County Public Library, the response to the pandemic crisis, the way in which they turned the entire library around in a very limited period of time so that it would continue to provide services, even though they're under tremendous restrictions. They can't open the buildings. They are assuring that service is available to the public. And I just wanted to say thank you for your role in this and your help.
Well, thank you, Dan, and you're spot on. I've been continually impressed with the work that Director Vassallo and their team have done in this transition period. So over a year. So thank you for that. All right, I see my friend James Montgomery here. Do you? I'm sure you have something to add. So James, good to see you.
Well, thank you, Councilmember Gerwando. I would like to weigh in with Dan and thank you in particular for your support for the collections budget. As my grandmother used to say, you shouldn't eat your seed corn, and that's what that proposition involved. And it's good that it's still with us, and we thank you very much. And I also would reinforce what Dan says about the tremendous way our library leadership has just turned this around and continued to make these books and resources and programs available, which is their charge and their promise. And God bless them for how they've done it.
Well, thank you, Jim, and thank you for your advocacy on behalf of the libraries. So, as my staff was saying, if anyone has a question or comment, you can raise your hand or just with this group, just turn your video on and shoot. And if not, we'll fill the space. And I'm not opposed to a shorter library tour tonight. So so I've got a public hearing tonight at 7:30. So this but either way, we'll be ready for you. So is there any staff or anybody? Is there anyone that wants to make a comment or ask a question? Okay, I see we've got was there anything that came in ahead of time that we needed to answer?
There was one question. If you give me one moment, I can bring it up.
Okay. I think it might have been from Dan. So
Yeah.
It was from Dan.
The question, yeah.
Okay, maybe we
Which I've already just restated. So
okay, good. So we're good on
the question.
That's it.
Linda,
can you hear
go
me
ahead.
speaking? Hi. I just want to let you know I'm very happy that you were able to come to our library. I love Davis Library. I volunteer here. I know a lot of the staff. They're wonderful, and especially the manager. And of course, Anita was a great manager way back when. And I'm the co-chair of the Davis Library Advisory Committee. And we're really out here to do the best we can for everybody in the community and elsewhere, and equity and all things involved. So I just want to let you know they were always here to do what we can to make it better. And we're so excited that everybody I speak to, or my members or people who come to see the library, especially when I volunteered before pandemic, that they all love the library and said they want to continue, again, have the collection. They love having the books. They love coming here to use the computers, which we really want back online. And that's what we're looking for too. So I just want to let you know that we all thank you again, like Dan did. And we all are thinking that everybody should be healthy, safe, and use the library when they can. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. I couldn't agree more. And I think that was one of the reasons we decided to try to restart these in person, just to give people a little flavor of being back in the library. But no, I think you're exactly right. Well, thank you for all that you do for Davis and for advocacy. Let me ask you a question. I'll flip it on you. Is there, for folks that are most familiar with Davis, tell me if there's one or two things that you love about this library the most, and or we also want to hear, is there anything where you think that could be slightly improved or that you think we need to be aware of as we're working to reopen? That's I'll put that out there to anybody. But maybe, Linda, if you have something to.
Well, one of the things I could say I really loved about what this library has, both before and now, the book discussion groups that are available for both adults, kids, and anybody else in the community that wants to join. And I think it's really important that the education part of these discussion groups are ongoing and are done so everybody can take part in it. And I think that's important for teenagers to keep their activity, their brain and their body activity going. And I think that's one of the best things. And I think the electronic stuff is important too, because even though they're getting a little burned out with it, I think it's important that it still exists and that there's interaction with that. And seeing museums and things, that could link up to anything. I think keeping the links and everything are important. And then person to person or group to group is very important too.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you for adding that. I think Director Vassallo, did you want to add? I know you can't share everything, but just maybe whatever you can share about reopening.
Right. So as I had mentioned before, we've been closed for a long time. March 16th, we will have had our buildings closed for a year. And so, myself and my staff, managers, everyone, we are all well aware of the fact that our community needs us. And, we're actively working right now towards a phased reopening of our buildings. We don't have the details quite worked out yet, so I can't share any more at this time. But we know that libraries serve as the hub of community life. And although we have been offering wonderful services, and my staff is doing a fantastic job supporting everyone through the pandemic, both with the online resources, the programming, and the holds to go, we know that there are greater needs, and we are working towards being able to fulfill those. So, everybody always says, stay tuned. So stay tuned. But there should be some information in the next several weeks about some really firm plans to be able to expand our services.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Anita. Anyone else want to ask a question, make a comment about anything? No pressure. All right, I see Joellen. I saw you go off of mute. There we go.
Well, I just want to tell you how much I love the libraries. I just moved away this last summer. I'm out of state. I'm actually joining you from out of state, from a different library system. It's not as good. They don't have all the resources. When I need something, I want a book or something that I want to listen to, I look on there in the library and I don't find it. But when I look at Montgomery County, there it is. So, I always love the library, but I really love it more, that it's there, that it provides those resources now that I'm not physically right there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I think it's easy to forget how blessed we are to have one of the best systems in the country, and we're still trying to make it even better. But it's a good point. I mean, I think
Yeah.
we have a great system. So, well, thank
Yeah,
you.
you think that everybody has that, but they don't.
Yeah, yeah. I won't ask you where you are, so we don't down anybody. We
Yeah.
don't you don't have to answer that. But wonderful. Anybody else?
I
All right.
think that one of the aspects of the library that's most impressive to me is that number one, it's open to everybody. So in a sense, it's a not in a sense, it is one of the county's outreach programs. Number
Absolutely.
two, it provides lifelong learning for people. You're familiar. I know you've been very active in keeping some continuity for story time for
Yeah,
young children, but it also extends even to people as ancient as I am. And I think that that's really very important. It's sort of all inclusive, and it provides a facility that people can use when they need enrichment, when they need to learn. And learning doesn't stop after school.
that's right. That's right. That's a great point. And I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm a little out of practice. I normally mention, I grew up in the Long Branch area of Silver Spring, and I'm a civil rights attorney by training. But way before I was a lawyer, I was sitting at a table like this at the Long Branch Library, and it was a big part of my daily life, and expanded my horizons. And I'm very, very grateful for it. And so I come to this not just as the lead for libraries now, but as someone who's been in Montgomery County Libraries for over 30 years, and as far as a user. And just wanted to say that. And I also wanted to say, we recently commissioned a report on the future of libraries before the pandemic. That probably could be amended now even more so, or doubled down upon. In that I believe down to my core that libraries are going to be an integral part of what I'm calling, and some are calling, an equitable recovery, to make sure that we get people back on track, back in jobs, back on that lifelong learning journey that you talked about, Dan, back helping them with childcare and early childhood literacy and education, back with our seniors having a place to have a high quality of life and go and enrich themselves, go down the list. And I think we're going to have to I'm excited about getting this virus under control so that we can begin that work, or not even begin it, continue that work of helping to meet the needs of our population and get people back on their feet. So I don't know, Anita. I don't know, Anita, if you want to say anything about that at all.
Well, I mean, I think you said it very well, Council Member. As I mentioned before, we know that the libraries are a community hub. They were prior to COVID. They will be, of course, again. We serve, as I think Dan mentioned, anyone and everyone. There is no requirement for anything for you to come in and be in the library and surround yourself with all that we offer. And of course, in order to get a library card, you just have to be a resident or go to school or work in anywhere in the state of Maryland and in a number of jurisdictions in Virginia and DC. So Maryland has a very strong tradition of public library service. Montgomery County is very proud to be part of that tradition. And we know what we mean to the community. And going forward, I think, as you said, libraries are going to be a critical part of the recovery for so many of our residents. So, we are definitely looking forward to taking our place among county services to support and help our residents resume their lives as much as possible, or even to go forward with what their plans were before the pandemic hit.
Exactly. Well, thank you for adding that. I'm going to have Lily from our staff put both my phone number to our office and the email address. If you have any concerns or questions about anything, I often tell people I do everything. If you have a pothole, if you have any issue you're facing that you think the government could help with, reach out. And I think we'll be responsive, and we might not be able to do exactly what you want, but we'll respond to you, and we'll try to help you out the best we can. So I want to give anyone else a chance here. I'm looking at eating dinner before 7 o'clock. I'm excited. So if there's anyone else that wants to make a comment or say anything, please chime in now. If not, we'll end a little early here and see you at the next one. I don't know if we've scheduled, so I'll pause for a second, stop talking. Does anyone else have anything to add or ask our audience? Okay. That sounds great. So Lily's going to put, I think we can put it in the chat, can't we? Or is the chat active for these folks?
Yep, it's in the chat right now.
Okay, but I think that's just to me. So I think you got to send it. You got to put it to all attendees.
Right.
Yep. So we'll put that in there. And I really want to thank Director Pasalo and the great folks here at Davis Library, who are all just, even at 6:15 tonight, busy bees. A lot of contact. This is a busy time for contact, hold and go. A lot of people are coming. A lot of people are coming to pick up their books, so they're in and out of the doors here. Just really appreciate all the work they're doing. And when is our next, Seamus? When is our next library tour? Do we have that scheduled?
Give me 1 second, and I'm pretty sure it has been scheduled, but
that's not Seamus. That's me. A picture of me when Seamus talks. Well, we'll post it on our social media, and you'll get the invite that way. And we're probably going to send out an email update in the next week or so, and we'll put it in there as well.
The next one, according to the form, is March 25th at Quince Orchard.
Mhm.
Okay, March 25th at Quince Orchard. What time is that?
5:30.
5:30. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining, and really appreciate all your work. And thanks for coming to Davis Library. And we had our first actual tour of a virtual tour of a library. So this will go down in library history here, Anita.
Definitely will.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you so much, Council Member.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you. Take care.
everybody.
Thank you.